here, and I've committed to doing Facebook Lives on my page on Wednesdays at 11 Pacific, but I missed it this week. I just wasn't ready. And so here I am though. And you know what I want to talk about is Facebook has just given me one of those totally cool 3 year ago memory things, and it says it's a Dr. Seuss quote that I loved seeing when I was touring Riverside, UC Riverside, with my younger daughter Kiara when she was looking at colleges. And it says, "Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you." Thank you, Dr. Seuss. And most of us have like good Dr. Seuss memories, right? You know, I grew up in a family where it was really, everybody was a grammarian. My mother was an English major and my dad was a lawyer, and the grammar police were always there in my household, which I'm glad about now because it helps me a lot. I'm, pretty into language and good use of language. It looks like I have somebody here. I am excited to see if it's going to tell me who that is, but it isn't yet. Anyway, so y'all remember Dr. Seuss? And it prompted me to look up Dr. Seuss because I had really never learned anything about him. And Dr. Seuss is like the Walt Disney to art and literature. Theodore Seuss Geisel. It says, Dr. Seuss was a storyteller in the grandest sense of the word. Not only did he tell fantastical tales of faraway places, but he also gave us a unique visual language that carried his stories to new heights of artistic expression. Surrealism provided the foundation from which he built his career, but like a launch pad sitting idle just before liftoff, surrealism was soon to be engulfed in the flames of ridiculous fun. I guess that's his style, huh? And its launch tower thrown to the ground with each new editorial, cartoon, magazine cover, painting, or children's book. It was that explosive energy that thrust Ted's work into otherworldly places, taking young and old alike on a ride that would become a critical reference point for most children from 1937 on, as well as for the adults who raised them. Nearly everyone has a significant Dr. Seuss memory. Mine is Green Eggs and Ham. Many of today's top visual artists, poets, filmmakers, and authors cite Ted as one of their greatest influences. Y'all agree with that? Indeed, what Walt Disney was to entertainment, Theodore Seuss Geisel was to art and literature. I think that's really cool. Anyway, the ability that Dr. Seuss had to be his authentic self and to use language in ways that others of us might not. I'm grateful that he did. I appreciate his wackiness, and that uniqueness that he was willing to share it's great to encourage and inspire us to do the same. Imagine 100 years ago. Now let me think. When was 100 years ago? When was he alive? I don't actually have his dates of his life here, but at any rate, we have a lot more freedoms today, despite other things that are happening. And to be our unique selves, is so cool. So I encourage people who I work with to share who they are, and just as I am encouraging myself to do that as well. Many of us grew up in a culture to not talk about ourselves publicly or to wear a professional veneer. And I find this very common in LinkedIn bios. So those of us who grew up sort of with the resume and the CV, there's this kind of professional way of talking about things. If you go in and look up people in LinkedIn, younger people tend to have really more vibrant LinkedIn profiles. And people who come from more like corporate and professional still could stand to put some little bit of liveliness in there, a little bit of who they are personally. And it's almost like you feel like you're violating social mores to do that. So in expressing our you-ness, as Dr. Seuss puts it, and giving people something human to relate to, that's what it's about now. We don't give up our professional conduct, but we do want to allow a naturalness if we're going to be on video. So that's why I am attempting this live stream. And it does feel foreign at first. Also in photos, you know, everything just doesn't have to be so very composed. The idea of relaxing and giving people a little bit more of who we are and a taste of who we are. So I'm going to be here live streaming regularly on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So look for me there and come and bring questions. I'm reinventing myself regularly. So the business coach hat that I wear reaches in several directions. I'm reading this because that's what I need to do right now. Business practices, let's see, business strategy, media and marketing strategy, and general business practices and ownership. My goal is to support leaders and owners to have the very best businesses and organizations and lives they possibly can. And I'll be sharing here in support of that. Yes, even with Dr. Seuss, and developing my own brand in accordance with that. I'm really happy to be with you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now. Sorry, whoops, I have to turn it off over here.